Welcome to Digicel's DPR Explained. The first step in this short video is to ensure that you are fully aware of how Digicel measures your performance. And that starts with a clear job description. Your JD will include an overview of your role, what you do, your main duties and responsibilities, the experience and qualifications you need, and the skills required for your role. Within the Digicel job description, we also focus on competencies, or in other words, how we expect you to perform within your role, what behaviors we would expect you to display. For example, customer-focused is a competency which we expect all staff in Digicel to display in their daily work. How you would display that is by always putting the customer first, whether it is an internal or external customer. Every job description for our staff in Digicel includes a competency section which includes 5 competencies for all staff and an additional 3 for staff at management level. Your job description describes what you are required to do in your role, whereas your DPR focuses on what you are required to achieve, or in other words, your objectives during the specific 6 months review period. Let's look at the example of a JD that everyone can relate to, a Digicel driver. Here you can see we outline the primary objective of the role and the driver's main duties and responsibilities. Then it also looks at the academic qualifications and experience required and the skills required for the role. Within Digicel, it is important that all staff have an up-to-date job description. Managers are accountable to provide an up-to-date JD for all their staff, and equally, staff must ensure that their JD is up-to-date. Now that we've looked at the JD, let's have a look at our DPR template. Remember, DPR is an abbreviation for Digicel Performance Review. There are 3 sections to the DPR. First, your objectives, or in other words, what we expect you to do. Your competencies, how we expect you to behave. And finally, your development needs. DPRs or performance reviews happen within Digicel twice a year, and during this meeting, your manager will discuss with you your performance against objectives and competencies over the previous 6 months, and you will agree the core objectives which you will focus on and be measured against for the following 6 months. Each objective will be clearly defined, and the importance of each objective will be agreed by applying a weighting. The total weighting will equate to 100%. In this example, the driver has been set 5 objectives. One of them, which refers to safety of passengers, has the highest weighting at 30%. 2 objectives have a weighting of 25%, and 2 objectives are at 10%. Although all 5 objectives are important, this enables the driver and the manager to prioritize the objectives. The second section is your competencies. And remember, your competencies refer to how you are expected to behave. We've already looked at one competency. Let's look at another one: problem solving. The behavior we expect to see when displaying this competency is you will always attempt to find solutions to problems and challenges which you face in your daily work. Another competency is follow through, with the expected behavior that you do what you say you will do and you will take ownership of your situation. At management level, we have an additional 3 competencies, which are performance management, people development, and leadership. Finally, your development is as important to us as it is to you. This section identifies the development needs you have to work on to enable you to improve in your role. The purpose of this section is to identify what support we can provide to you to help you develop in your role. For example, we may have a driver who achieves all of his objectives with regards to safety, punctuality, and maintenance of the vehicle. However, this driver may score poorly in the customer focus competency. In other words, the driver's customer's feedback may show that he lacks friendliness and doesn't engage with them. This may be the driver's lack of confidence when engaging with other people. So in this example, the development solution for the driver is to spend a day with the friendliest driver in the fleet, observing on that driver's engagement with customers. This would be a better development solution than traditional classroom training. In Digicel, you will learn that there are different types of training which include on-the-job training that accounts for 70% of all training we deliver, one-on-one learning, which is coaching and mentoring and accounts for 20% of all training, and formal training, which is your traditional classroom training and accounts for 10% of all training. Your manager and you will agree the most appropriate training solution during your DPR conversation. So let's recap this. During your DPR discussion, you and your manager will agree 1. Whether you achieved your core objectives which were set for you, 2. How you performed against competencies, and 3. What are your development needs to help you improve in your role. All of that information is captured to provide you with a rating. The two areas we score are objectives, which account for 80% of your total score, and competencies, which account for 20% of your total score. The maximum rating you can get is 5, which means you have overachieved, and the minimum rating you can get is 1, which means you did not achieve. In this example, we have given this person the highest rating possible, a 5, for all objectives and all competencies. However, within Digicel and most large companies in the world, you will have a small percentage of staff who will achieve a low rating. You will also have a small percentage of your staff that will achieve a high rating. The majority of the staff will score a midway rating. So let's have a look at another example. Here we see the employee has partially achieved. The manager has scored the employee with a mix of results, which would be an outcome of how the employee performed against the set objectives and competencies. The total score in this example is 2.5, which means this employee achieved a partial achievement in their DPR score. So now that you have a good understanding of our DPR process, it is important to note that although the DPR conversation only takes place twice a year, managers and their staff should be discussing individual performance against objectives on a regular basis. This is so that staff know how they are performing against objectives during the 6 months period. Now, let's discover how your bonus is calculated. This presentation will outline how your bonus is calculated. We have moved from quite a complex rating scale to a more simplified rating scale, which is a movement from 22 levels of payment to only 5. We now use descriptors rather than numbers when agreeing on your performance rating. There are 2 elements that make up payment for employee bonus. One element is the employee's individual performance, which is based on their DPR rating. In their DPR, they will receive a rating from between 1 and 5. 1 indicates a non-achievement, and 5 indicates an overachievement. This individual performance rating will be multiplied by a market modifier in order for the employee bonus to be calculated. The market modifier is calculated on 5 core KPIs which the market is expected to achieve during a 6 months period. The market, similar to the individual performance, will achieve a rating from 1 to 5. 1 meaning the market did not achieve its KPIs, and 5 meaning it overachieved. To give a simple example, if you achieve a fully achieved rating, you are entitled to 100% of your bonus. We then multiply this by the market modifier. Again, to keep it simple, if the market fully achieves, the market modifier rating would also be 100%. To calculate your bonus, we multiply your individual rating against the market modifier rating. So in this example, we are multiplying 100% by 100%, so the employee bonus payout is 100%. In a situation where a market does not achieve, only staff who fully achieved or above, for example, achieve a 3, 4, or 5 rating, will receive their bonus, and that bonus will be paid at a maximum of 75%. Remembering that the bonus is made up of 2 elements, your bonus can be impacted both positively and negatively, depending on both your individual performance and the performance of the market. So let's look at an example. We have Joe Bloggs, who is a market analyst. His annual salary is $20,000 and his annual bonus is 10%, which is $2,000 or $1,000 per half year. In this example, the market modifier for H1, or the first half of the year, is 75%, which means it has partially achieved. As in the example, we'll list down all the possible ratings the employee is likely to get. NA, not achieved, means you are not entitled to bonus, or 0%. PA, partially achieved, means you are entitled to 75% of your bonus. FA, fully achieved, means you are entitled to 100% of your bonus. EA, exceed achievement, means you are entitled to 110% of your bonus. OA, overachieved, means you are entitled to 125% of your bonus. However, you will remember that the bonus calculation has 2 elements. 1, your individual performance multiplied by the market modifier. So in this example, if your individual performance rating was partially achieved, you are entitled to 75% of your bonus, and we multiply this by the market modifier, which in this example is 75%. This equates to a 56% bonus payout. If you fully achieved, you multiply 100% by the market modifier at 75%, which then equates to a 75% bonus payout. If you overachieved, you multiply 125% by 75% the market modifier, which equates to 93.7% bonus payout. Looking at example 2, where the market exceeded achievement, if you achieved a partially achieved rating, you are entitled to 75% of your bonus. In this example, we multiply by 110%, which equates to an 83% payout rather than 75%. Likewise, if you fully achieved, we multiply 100% by 110%, which equals 110% payout. So in other words, you benefit when the market is doing well. So that explains how we in Digicel calculate your bonus. For further clarity, please speak with your manager or your HR team, and we will be delighted to assist you. This video is available to all staff at all times, and it is our recommendation that all managers and staff view this again prior to your DPR conversation.